Hello, everybody. It is me, author Alec Belle, here with another video. I posted my first video, which was an Altar and Sacred Space tour, a couple weeks ago, and now I am here to do another video. Many of you probably know me as author Alec Belle. I've written about I'm working on my 15th book right now. But I have currently 5 books published, and then I have many other books written up on Wattpad for people to read for free. But like I said, I'm currently working on my 15th book, which is a prequel book to my series, The Forbidden Darkness Chronicles, which is a paranormal young adult series about a girl named Heather Hawkins who finds out that she's a monster hunter. And I've been working on that series for a long time, and I'm really excited about that. But that is not why we're here today. Today, we are here to talk about why I became a Christian again after many years of disowning that title for myself and kind of how I got to this point. So I guess we'll just start with a little bit of brief history about me. I was probably about 7 years old when I came out of the closet as gay. Scratch that. I was not out of the closet at 7 years old. I don't know why I just mixed that up. I was 9 years old when I came out of the closet, but I was 7 years old when I realized that I was gay. So that was a huge thing. I grew up in a Christian family. It was kind of believed in my family that being gay was a sin. And of course, when I came out of the closet, I received a little bit of kind of not backlash, but a little bit of negativity from my mother in particular, even though both of my parents were not very happy about it. I had several family members who were really helpful during this time and really helped me be secure in my sexuality and kind of helped me figure things out. So when I first came out of the closet and I was being told that I was going to go to hell, I remember the very first time that I ever heard the word homosexuality. My mother invited me into her bedroom and she had her Bible laying out on the bed. I sat on the bed next to her and she read the verse 1 Corinthians 6:9, which basically lists all these different people that aren't going to get into heaven, and homosexuals are listed as one of those people. So my mother read me this scripture and I was like, "Mom, what's a homosexual?" And she goes, "That's what you are." And I remember just being like, wow, that's a little much. And I thought that it was a bit weird. I didn't really know much about the topic. I was very uninformed as I was only like 9 or 10 years old when this happened. So, things kind of moved along at this pace for a little while. And eventually it kind of went from us talking about my sexuality and like kind of having it jammed down my throat that I'm going to go to hell. So like we didn't talk about it at all. Like I was not allowed to say that I was gay. My mom never said I was gay. Like nobody said I was gay. I remember being in middle school and my parents, kind of asking me about my girlfriend. When I was in middle school, I had decided that I was going to start dating girls. I came out as bisexual. I said that, and the whole bisexual thing was only because I was trying to please my parents. It had nothing to do with actually being bisexual. I was definitely gay, but I was trying to date girls to please my parents, my family. So I kind of went through this little bit of a phase where I was dating females, and eventually I just realized that I was gay and that was okay. And so my mother, who is, my mother, who actually kind of doesn't like to say that she's Christian anymore, was very Christian at the time, and my dad was too, and it was really tough just all around. And then at one point, my mother went on this deep dive journey of looking for answers, trying to find out whether or not being gay really was a sin. And when she went on this journey, she didn't find anything. I think what my mother found, as she told me, was that she was more confused. She didn't understand what was going on. She didn't understand what was really being said in the Bible. She was just very, very confused by what she found when she actually looked into the topic. And around this, so I guess I should say too, that during this time, I was crying myself to sleep every night, begging God to take my gay away, begging God to kill me, kind of just going through all of these different emotions that I don't think any child should ever have to go through, but unfortunately I did. And then I kind of drifted away from the Christian label, and then I moved out to Nevada when I turned 18, to kind of get away from my family, because my family is a little insane. I love them, but they're a little crazy. So I moved to Nevada, and during this time, I did not really identify as a Christian. I always told people that I believed in God, I believed in Jesus, and I believed in the Bible, but I wasn't a Christian. And I just identified as spiritual. I identified as spiritual, kind of, but I didn't really identify with the Christian label anymore. So when I turned 19, or maybe I was 20, I was either 19 or 20, I ended up in the psychiatric hospital after a suicide attempt. I struggled a lot with mental health my whole life. And then when I got to this hospital, I met one of my very, very good friends named Elijah, and he is a Wiccan, and we're still friends to this day. And we were both in the hospital together, and there was this other woman, and I think her name was Gail, but we were in the hospital with her, and she was a Christian, and we ended up having this spirituality group in the hospital where we started talking about just spiritual things. And I was actually really excited for this group because I really wanted to talk about things. And before I knew it, everybody in the room was crying. We were all talking about how we felt like God hated us, that like we just felt so horrible all the time, that we didn't understand what was going on. And in this moment, I was sitting there and I was crying. Now, before I proceed, I just want to say that I always wanted an experience like this, and I think people that aren't Christian don't understand this, or aren't spiritual don't understand this idea. But I was sitting there in this space. It was, everybody was crying, and in my head, I heard the voice, "I still love you." And I heard this, and I was just completely shocked. I was like, where did that come from? And I was really confused. And so, of course, I'm crying more. And then I heard the same voice again say, "I still love you." And I'm going to start crying because it was in that moment that I realized that I wanted to get back to my spiritual life. And I wanted to start enhancing my spirituality a little bit. So I got out of the hospital. Me and Elijah still stayed friends. And I was dating this guy at the time who was also kind of a spiritual guy, but was not Christian. He was kind of into like the druid type of stuff. And I started really diving into just a lot of different things. I started learning about chakras. I started, I started getting really interested in meditation and yoga and kind of just like all of this other different stuff. And I ended up breaking up with this guy. And right before I moved back to Massachusetts to live with my family, I had started getting really into crystals. And so I started getting into crystals. I bought my first 2 crystals while I was out in Nevada, and then I moved here. And I ended up learning that my grandmother, who is also a Christian, is super into like the crystals and chakra stuff, which I didn't know was a thing. I actually thought that was a complete contradiction of everything that the Bible said. I thought it just was a very unchristian thing, which was part of why I didn't I identify as a Christian. And so I found out that my grandmother was really into this stuff. She gave me a few crystals. I started, I was kind of really interested in like Buddhist philosophy at the time too, which I do find a lot of like truth in Buddhist philosophy. I find a lot of truth in a lot of different religions, but I do today identify as a Christian. So anyway, I was getting really into crystals and kind of all this other stuff. I was reading about chakras. I was doing yoga. I was doing meditation. I started doing all this different stuff. And it was just a really like surreal experience. And I felt like I was growing, but I felt like I was missing something. And then I ended up in a group home for mental health issues. I was there for a little over a year. I think I was there for 14 months. And I kind of slowly started coming back around to the idea of being a Christian. My grandmother and my mother bought me these beautiful New Testament Bible journals, where on one side, on the left side, it has the scriptures, and then on the right side, it's blank, so you can write like whatever you want. And all of the books of the Bible are individual books instead of like in one big book. And I really like that. I still have the set. I started using it a little bit, and I really just started going back into this Christian thing, and finding some connection with it. I wish that I could say there was an exact moment where I realized that I was a Christian again, but it kind of just happened naturally. It kind of happened over time, and I woke up one day and I was like, wow, I'm a Christian. And I think it was because I had either made a post on Facebook or somebody asked me about it. And I was just like, yeah, I'm a Christian. And I realized that I had said it, and I was like, wow, that's not something I've said in a really long time. And so now my faith has kind of come to fruition. I'm very at peace with myself. I'm very at peace with my sexuality. If people want a video on kind of whether you can be LGBTQ and Christian or not, I might make a video on that and kind of how I came to that, that mindset that it's okay. I also have a Wattpad series called Before I Break. If you go to my Wattpad account, there are 5 episodes up on and when I say episodes, they're like chapters. There's 5 of them up on Wattpad, each separated into 3 parts. And yeah, that is a story that I'm continuing. It's ongoing. It's not done. It's based on my debut novel, Before I Break, that is no longer available anymore. It's a reimagined version of that story. And I also wanted to share with you that for Christmas this year, I bought myself Where True Love Is, an affirming devotional for LGBTQI individuals and their allies, which I'm really looking forward to reading. It seems like there's some good stuff in here. It's a 90-day devotional. And yeah, so I identify as a Christian again, and it was something that I never thought I would say, but I realized that I got to a point where, there was a couple things. One, I started finding people that believe in the same things that I do and have the same kind of mindset that I do. And I found peace with progressive Christianity. I consider myself a progressive Christian over a conservative Christian. I believe in a lot of different things than a lot of Christians do, but at the core of my belief system, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in heaven, I believe in kind of the real core. I believe that God is love. I don't believe in hating other people for who they are, whether they're a different sexuality, whether they're transgender, whether they're a different religion. I don't believe in hate at all. I kind of have gotten to this point where I just believe in spreading love and being love, and I think that's the most important thing. And I really am just excited to share this video with you guys, and if anybody has any questions, I'll be willing to ask. If you guys would like to see another video touching on certain topics, whether it's like, how do I believe in chakras and still be a Christian, or how am I gay and still a Christian, or, just anything that, like, how do I mix, or how do I take, different things from different religions and use it in my Christianity, that is another topic I'd love to get into. So if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them. And like I said, if you want to read my Before I Break series on Wattpad, it is an LGBTQ Christian story that follows 3 different characters, and it's a story that I love so much. So I'm very happy to have done this video for you guys. And if you like this video, there will be a lot more coming. So hit the subscribe button and like this video, and I'll be back with more videos soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.